Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Cozy Catch Up with me, Sarah Burr. Welcome to Wednesday. I hope you're having a wonderful week and things are, this month is just going by so quickly at the moment. I am working my way towards my back to school mentality, making sure that I am getting all of my the items that I prepared or wanted to achieve this summer, that I'm getting those checked off my list, so that I can focus on writing the next Coco Klein book once September rolls around. So welcome Mizan over on Instagram. Thanks for joining. Hello, Susan. Hope you are doing well. I haven't really been paying attention too much to the news, just to keep my sanity. But I do know that there's like flooding that's happening in the Midwest. That there have been a lot of storms and tornadoes and just crazy things going on. So I hope everybody is keeping safe wherever you are. It's a beautiful day here, which is very nice. It's a little bit hotter than I expected it to be. I'm kind of regretting having like a polyester like jumpsuit on at the moment, but it's a beautiful sunny day, perfect for doing finishing up some reading. I am working on a couple of projects for friends where I get to read their first draft, get a sneak peek of their work, give them any feedback, ideas, and I thought that I'd share a little bit about that process with you guys today. Hi, Laura, welcome. Thank you for being here. But first, a quick update on my porch garden. It's been a little while since I shared what's been going on with my plants. I was a little nervous after we got back from Maine. A lot of them were severely dehydrated. Most looked dead. Lots of brown leaves, lots of wilting flowers. But I did some pruning last week and really just hydrated everybody as much as possible. Had their little fan on so that they have some air movement in their little corner of the porch. And I'm actually surprised by how well everybody like came back to life. Magnolia especially, which is the really big plant with the purple flowers. She looks beautiful. And a couple of them, Mammy in particular, had to have a lot of dead stems removed, a lot of dead leaves, and did some repotting, add some new fresh soil so that everybody has some more nutrients that they can pull from. And so I'm glad that they all came back to life, because it's really nice out there. It's really sitting out there. I was working yesterday reading a manuscript for a fellow cozy mystery author, and it was just such a nice atmosphere to be in. And I don't know if any of you guys have are beta readers for the authors in your life, but I have been offering my not services, because I don't charge anybody for it, but just like my eyes, my feedback on projects for folks. And it's really a fun experience for me, mostly because I get to read something as both a reader and a writer, so that I know that um, I have my writer hat on, in that I know what we have to do to tell a story, and I know what clues need to be introduced. I know what the elements are that make a good cozy mystery from a writing perspective. But as a reader, I can kind of go along and immerse myself in the world. One thing that I'm always kind of keeping a look out for is, you know, how often do I need to be reminded of things when I am reading someone's manuscript? There are times, especially when you're moving from chapter to chapter, that and I will be the first to admit, like my short-term memory these days isn't as good as it used to be. So the fact that there are characters that I'll come across that I'm like, I don't remember who this person is, and it'll take me out of the story to figure out who are they, when they were introduced, what's the history between the main character and this particular character. So I really approach these reads as both just enjoying the story and pointing out like, hey, this was a moment that made me chuckle, or this was a really like a moment that made me gasp, or that I really was racing through to see what the result was going to be. But also knowing that there are certain things that get introduced, and I'm like, I know that this is done for the plot, and in order to make it work in a way that feels effortless for the reader's experience, that there's often some times where we have to make adjustments and figure out a way to more naturally introduce things. And the one of my favorite things is that like this is too coincidental. And often in cozy mysteries, we definitely suspend our belief a lot of the times, because not everybody is going to go uproot their daily life and go solve a crime. But once you suspend belief to a certain extent, there are definitely some things where you're kind of asking yourself, like, I know that this is done as the writer for the plot, but I need to figure out a way to introduce this character or this scene or this clue in a more believable way for the reader. And that's what I'm having a really fun time doing and helping other people with, because I approach it with both of those perspectives, rather than just being like, I don't believe this. I can say, I don't believe this, but here are some options for how you might be able to write this in or work this in so that it makes sense. um Mizan, I definitely sympathize with remembering characters. I actually started in my Court of Mystery series after a while that I have a like principal cast character list, so that you can kind of reference folks if you need to. It's like, who the heck is this person again? Especially in the realm of virtues, where everybody has such fancy titles, and being able to uh, just figure out with nicknames and titles and all of that stuff, it can be tricky. So I always appreciate when, especially in complicated series, that when you get like that rundown, because it really helps you kind of stay grounded in the story and figure everything out. And Mizan, if you're reading on your Kindle, you highlight each time a new character is introduced. That way you can go back and look at the list. So really, I didn't know. I am so bad at using the features on my Kindle. I rarely even remember that I can like highlight a that I can highlight a word and look it up if I'm not familiar with the term. That's another thing that I'm on the lookout for, because I'm somebody who loves fun and unique words. Um, and words that you might not be using in everyday conversation, but I will definitely come across words in manuscripts where I was like, I have no idea what this word is. And depending on the situation, especially if it's like a really intense scene where you may not want to pull somebody out of the moment to be like, oh, that's a different word, when we're just about ready to reveal who the killer is. And finding spaces for uh, and pointing out those situations when that happens. Or sometimes I learn a word that maybe I didn't know, but everybody else in the world seems to know, and then that's on me, and I can further enhance my vocabulary. But I'm having a lot of fun doing this type of beta read, where I get to help and be a part of the creative process, but there's not so much pressure on me, because the story's already been written. I can just like provide feedback and ideas for ways to get through sticky situations, and mostly I get to enjoy, being with these characters and seeing, how they're seeing what they're up to before everybody else does, which that's a great way to experience a book. And Susan, we have Susan is saying, Mizan, that that's a great idea about highlighting in the Kindle. I should do that more often, because you're right, being able to figure out what is going on, and having that character list easy to easily reference, can be useful. But I'm actually moving away a little bit from reading ebooks. I kind of go through phases where I like reading an ebook more than I like reading a physical book at the moment, and I don't know why. I think it's because my wrists aren't hurting as much. For a while, I was having problems where I would open up a book and it would just like be painful for my wrists to hold the book. But it was probably because I was reading like such thick books that were like 500 pages long. This is when I was like really deep in my fantasy, like the fantasy genre, where I was consuming a lot of like long epic fantasy, and it was just like a real struggle to just hold the books in my hands. But now that I'm reading a lot of manga, reading some young adult fiction, cozy mysteries, romances, what have you, that it's much more, it's less stressful on my poor wrists to be able to enjoy the paperback. But the downside is I've run out of space of where to keep these, and we unfortunately do not have a library that really likes donations. I had a really awkward experience with them, actually. They were not very grateful that we brought in this huge box of books to donate. And maybe I was wrong expecting them to be grateful, but it was just like they were not happy to have to deal with it. I was like, okay, like never mind. So I try to find like little lending libraries that are around our area, and if I see one, it's like, okay, I'll bring a collection of books and put them in, because um, I'm not a person that, there are a couple book series that I will hold on to. I have all of Denise Swanson's Scumble River mysteries. I think I have all of Denise Swanson's books. I have all of Julia Buckley's cozy mysteries. I have a couple fantasy series, which is like the Sword of Truth series. I have my original Harry Potter books from back in the day. What else? I think I have the Aragon, or I think it was called the Inheritance trilogy, but then he wrote a fourth book, so it became the Inheritance cycle. But other than that, I don't really have like a lot of books that I keep on a regular basis, because my apartment is very small. I don't. I don't have anywhere to put them. So being able to find places to donate and to lend out books to people is always really good for me. Um, I am seeing over on Instagram, we've got Brooke. Hi, Brooke. Thanks for being here. You highlight clues in your reading. That is, wow. That is a very smart way to read a book. If I can remember a clue, I will keep it in my head. But otherwise, I'm just like, whoop, I fly past it, because I think I'm getting to the point where I want to be surprised. As the reader, for the longest time, especially after I got to writing cozy mysteries, I would solve them too quickly on in the book, and it kind of dimmed the experience for me. So I really love it when I'm surprised by a cozy mystery and I'm shocked by who the killer is. But now, if I don't remember the clues, the killer is always a surprise. So that's something that has kind of benefited me a little bit in the long run, because now as I read things, I'll be like, oh, this came out of nowhere. Like, I love it. And that surprise is there. Mizan, you say your library doesn't accept donations, but they have a drop box for Better World books outside the building. Well, that's absolutely lovely. And that's what, if my library doesn't like, well, the thing is like the library had this huge, in the foyer. So you walk in, it was like a two door entrance where you walk in through the double doors. There's like you're in a glass room, and then you walk in through another set of doors before you're in the library. So let's call it the foyer. And in the foyer, they had two huge bookshelves that had free books that the public could just take, and that's where they had us put our book donations. And it was just like, okay, fine. Like, I just don't want these anymore, and I want somebody else to be able to enjoy them. So it's that, but I like the idea of having a donation, because I just want people to be able to read these books. Although I definitely can't take some of the manga that I read to the library, because it's a little spicy, and probably they wouldn't find it appropriate. We have Susan saying, I have so many books. I'm taking a box to Thrift Books later today. I can donate at my local libraries as well. Susan, you live in a great book area, it sounds like. I live in like what they call like a book desert, where the nearest, and it's strange because I live out on Long Island, which is a very commercialized and I mean, it's got a ton of people in it. I'm pretty sure like Nassau County is like the biggest county in the United States. But we have like one Barnes and Noble that is 25 minutes away from where we live. And it's really difficult to find small bookstores in our area. And so I always feel that I'm like in a I call it a book desert. Um, and I wish that wasn't the case. I would love to have a bookstore in my town. There's so many open storefronts now. It's a little sad about how many businesses have either gone out of business or just like closed after 75 years. Or like, hey, we're retiring, and the all of these storefronts are now empty, and so I'm hoping that we get some more things popping up. I did see that we have a insomnia cookies coming, which I'm really excited about. I don't know if anybody is familiar with insomnia cookies, but they make really good cookies. There's one in Penn Station that George will go to on occasion and bring some home, as well as we've been to. I think the first time we actually went to one was when we were down in Florida visiting Disney World. So it's a nice treat to have that nearby because I do love a good cookie. Um, and I recently heard of Book Crossing as a way to donate and borrow books. I'm going to check that out. Book Crossing, is that something on? Is that something, Mizan, that you do online? Because like I could always like just ship a box of books to somebody to be like, hey, like feel free to distribute this to your readership. And as long as I'm only including books in it, I can send it media mail. A funny story about I recently sent some books to Kelly Vayman from the Cozy's Conversations and More um, Facebook group, and because of the box size that I had, I needed something to like stuff the box with, so I could so that they weren't like moving around during shipping and getting like dinged up on the edges. And this is right before we were getting ready to go to Maine, so I didn't have time to go out and like go to a packaging shop and buy like paper or bubble wrap or anything. And so I just took some old towels, clean towels that I had like stuffed in my cabinet, and stuffed them in so that I could send the books off to her. But because I had the towels in there, I couldn't send it media mail, and it cost me $39 to send. It was like, 6 books that I sent, and the shipping was $39. And I was like, well, never again. I am just gonna. So I've been just saving all of the packaging paper that I get from my Amazon deliveries, so that to and like stowing it away in my closet so that I have it on hand if I ever need to send things out. Um, Bull Moose in Waterville, Maine buys used books. Are there any used bookstores near you? No. There is one. It's not a used bookstore, but it's like I don't actually understand the business model of it, but it is I think the bookstore owner has rented out space inside of a coffee shop. So there's like a bookstore corner that you can go visit while you're getting your coffee. And I need to visit because it's a bookstore and it's relatively close by to where I live. But I don't believe that they accept used books, and I believe they sell, it's like books by Black authors and people of color. So it's a store that is promoting um, uh, those folks. So I need to go visit and just to support and check it out, because I think that's a cool concept of like having like a little space in a store carved out for and you can kind of like tag team a business, which I think is really cool. And so let's see. Book crossing. You can register the books and leave them out in the wild and track where they are. Oh, that's fun. That's kind of like Pokemon Go for books. I like that idea. And Susan has 27 branches of her library in the county. That is wild. I uh I share my sister-in-law's Libby subscription because she is a member up in Massachusetts, and because she's a part of like the Massachusetts library system, she is able to access both the Boston Boston Public Library, as well as like her hometown branches, which you know, if you have access to the Boston Public Library's lending library, it's like you're set. Although I'm surprised by how little manga ebooks that they have available on in libraries. I really hope that we have that as it becomes more and more mainstream, that libraries will begin to add it into their curriculum, and maybe not even. I can understand why, because in a manga series, like there can be like there could be dozens of books in a manga series, and that is probably expensive to have to buy each individual ebook licensing. But it would be really cool if they could do something where it's like, here's the series, and you can the library like licenses the series so that every time there's a new book out, they get access to it. I should recommend that to somebody. It's probably $1 million idea. And Mizan is says, I thought our 6 branches was a lot. So Susan, you have everybody beat with that 27 branches. That must be a huge county. Um, I should see. I don't know how many how our like libraries work is they're just like town libraries. So I don't know if that's like the same thing. I honestly I don't even know how many libraries are in our our county. But I am excited. I am doing a library event in October. That I'm looking forward to. That's somewhat nearby, and it'll be in Jericho, New York, and I'm looking forward to they're doing like a little author meet and greet panel where we have 10 minutes to talk about ourselves, and it's like, oh man, figuring out like I can talk about myself in like 2 minutes like we do at Maliska Round, but once you get past 5 minutes, then it's like there's a lot that I could cover. Um, and so trying to figure out like, okay, what's my 10-minute time? What do I share in that moment is gonna that'll be I'll have to puzzle on that and figure out what to say to people that's also engaging and makes them want to learn more about me and my books. Which, speaking of learning a little bit more about me and my books, I was lucky enough to be the inaugural guest on Nicole Liren's new podcast, Mystery in the Margins. We did the interview last week, and it was so fun. Nicole was so welcoming. You guys might be familiar with her. She's been a guest on A Bookish Moment several times. She writes the Sadie Sabatini mysteries with Murderous Consequences, where Sadie is a reformed con woman that's settled in Texas. Nicole's also written, I believe, a part of the Aloha Lagoon series that's with Gemma Holliday. So she is just a delight, and we had a lot of fun chatting about my writing process and what's kind of just going on in my head on a daily basis, which was fun to reflect on. And it was cool to be on the other side of the mic where she was asking me questions. Usually I'm the person that's doing that. So it was a nice treat for me to get to talk about myself. um, and be interviewed. So if you guys are if you're into podcasts, you can search, I believe it's Authors on the Air. You can search Sarah E. Burr. You can search Mystery in the Margins on your favorite podcasting platform, and check out the episode because we had a fun time, and it was good fun. I love podcasts. I love talking to people, which is strange because I am a very introverted person, but I do love talking about my work and myself in not like a weird way, I guess. Um, I had the good fortune of going into the city yesterday and having coffee with Lori Robbins. You guys may be familiar with her. She was nominated. Her book, murder in, I can't remember if it was fourth or fifth position, which one was nominated for the Agatha, but she writes the On Point mysteries, which I love, with her ballerina Leah Sidorova. She also writes the masterclass mysteries about a school teacher who solves crimes. And it was great to catch up with her and kind of both commiserate about the things that we're struggling in the writing world, but also what's working for us, where we're finding joy. And both of us have really come to the conclusion that like writing is where it's at. We've got to get back to writing and doing as much as possible to further our crafts, even if that means having to say no to opportunities or requests that come in and all of that fun stuff. And Susan, thank you for your compliment about my hair. I was actually just before we were getting ready to go on, I have like these I have to go in and get like some type of trim because the sideburns that my hairstylist left are like beginning to like fly away. So I have like these things like popping off the side of my head. And it's definitely like a lot longer than it was. It's been growing really quickly. So I've got like a more shaggy appearance. And I'm like, oh, how am I gonna? I don't know how to manage it because I think I am just gonna let it kind of grow back out. But I do like it short, so I'm kind of in a toss up right now. So I'm just gonna see like what happens as it continues to grow, and then possibly just go in and get the same haircut that I did a couple weeks ago. Um, but it's so nice. It's just so nice to walk and not have my hair stick to my neck, flying in my face, getting in my food when I'm eating. So the only thing that I'm having a hard time with is I have to update my author headshots, and I can't get like my photos of me look different than the video of me and like how I feel like I look in the mirror with my hair. So I have to figure out how to like get a picture that reflects like what I look like. And so who knows what that means. But yes, keep it short. I would like I definitely it's gonna I'm not gonna ever grow my hair out long again like I've done in the past. Like if anything, it would be like shoulder length. Because sometimes I do miss having like a ponytail that I can whip around uh and I do like my headshots, my latest ones where my hair is like sort of it's like goes to here and it's darker. Um and I just don't want to update them because I look really good in it. And it's like, oh, I'm getting older, and I just want to like look that way as I continue. But I don't want people to be like, "Who are you?" when they meet me and they see that my hair is not. I don't have hair on my head. Um, a spiky or messy look. I do like a messy look. The spiky look for me, Susan. I always call myself Guy Fiero when I have my hair spiky. Because it does not look well on me. And so I don't mind like the disheveled messiness. I actually like it without having like the part on, like because sometimes I would part it and it looks a little bit too it looks a little bit more like what's oh gosh, Julie Andrews in The Sound of Music, which I do like. She looks beautiful in with her hair like that, but for me, it just like sticks like it's too much, it's too close to my head because I have very thin hair, so I don't have a lot of volume to work with. So I just like try to keep it as looking as like full as possible. But yeah, I've got to figure out what to do and how to manage it going forward. Maybe I'll start wearing a lot of headbands. I do love a good headband. And that would be fun, but we'll see. So as we continue this journey together, you'll probably see it changing week to week. And I'm looking at the time. I'm seeing that I'm almost out of time with you guys. Trying to figure out new. Oh, hopefully, if you haven't had a chance to, because I mentioned all of the misadventures we had during our main trip last week. If you haven't had a chance to head over to Writers Who Kill, I posted on Sunday my attempt at writing a funny essay. Um, and if you'd like to read a little bit more in depth about all the things that went wrong, um, but it, and I felt kind of bad at the end because everyone was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry for your bad experience." It's like it wasn't bad. Like it wasn't a bad experience. It was just like, wow, like how many more things can not go the way that we planned? We still had a lovely time. We still had a lot of fun, but it was just funny. It's like, God, like this is meant to be fun and lighthearted. Like you don't have to be upset that you know our credit card was stolen but not stolen, or that like a whole like bird's nest. I don't even know. I think I had to take out. There was stuff that I didn't even include in the essay because it was so long, and I was like, "Oh, I can't have it. I can't have it be more than 1,500 words." Um, and so it's like there were things that I had to remove from it, which was funny because like, oh, I could just keep going. But you can find that on the Writers Who Kill blog. I am, I think in November, I think it was November that I signed up. I'm going to be on Chicks on the Case, which I'm really excited about because that group is super amazing. I am going to be on Murder They Write this Friday for my takeover day. So I hope that I'll see you guys there. I am back to watching George and I are watching a couple different things right now. We're watching Ripper Street on BritBox, I believe. We canceled Hulu, Disney, and HBO. So which for HBO, I'm a little bummed about because that has a lot of my murder shows on it. So I need to figure out like how do I get access to all of those. I think I can subscribe to what is it? Investigation Discovery Channel on either Amazon, I think on Amazon's platform. Just because I'm trying to cut down on all the subscriptions that we have. I don't know like how many there's like everything it feels these days is subscription based, and it's just getting to be way too much to keep track of. Like I have to have a subscription to, number one, use this platform that I'm using to stream to you guys. I have to have a subscription for like Canva. I have to have a subscription for Microsoft Word so that I can write my like have a document to write my books in. It's like I just miss the days where I could buy, you know, uh, back when Photoshop was like you had to pay like $300 for Photoshop, but it's like it was $300 one time only, and now it's like you spend like $300 in like a year and a half on these subscriptions. So I'm trying to cut down on like the streaming services that we have. That's why we axed Hulu, Disney, and HBO. Um, but I still have Crunchyroll, which is my anime subscription, and I'm rewatching Fruits Basket, which is like one of my favorite anime love stories of all time. It's so beautiful. I absolutely love it, and I highly recommend if anybody is thinking about like, oh, like what's anime about? Like, what would be a good story to start on? Fruits Basket is 100% my recommendation for you, because it's such a beautiful story. I'm rewatching that. We're also watching something called The Lord of Mysteries, which is the artwork in it is stunning. It's a very strange, I guess, speculative fiction where it's kind of taking place in another world, but it's like in a steampunk era type world. And we're 2 episodes in and we still don't really know what's going on. And but we're enjoying it because it is such a beautiful show to watch. The artwork is stunning. We're watching something called The Tomb Raider King, which is a Korean. It's I think it's called manhwa. Uh, so it's based off of a Korean manga, which is a manhwa, and it's very good and fun. But it's very action packed, kind of dark, so like definitely not light and uplifting. But I highly recommend it. So that's kind of what's keeping me entertained these days. I'm going to go read Melissa Maxwell's latest book because I'm doing a review for Kings River Life, and you'll be able to catch that soon. And I'm very much looking forward to that. So I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your week. Thank you very much for stopping by. It's always great to catch up with you. And I will be back next week. I think that'll be the last week, last Wednesday of August, and then I'll be like being in my sulky back to school mode, just because I just hate the feeling of like, ugh, got to go back to work. Darn. But I'm looking forward to working on my Coco Klein book. So that's a good project to have on the horizon. Keep I'll keep you posted on any goings on over the week, and we'll touch base next time. Take care of yourselves, take deep breaths, drink lots of water, do all the things to just like make sure you're taking care of yourselves, because it's a crazy world out there, and we gotta keep on keeping on. So thank you everyone for being here. Enjoy the rest of your day. I appreciate you, and we will talk next week. So I'll see you then. Bye, guys.